You know what I'm saying? But as far as like Mass Effect 5 is concerned, and it's a good thing you mentioned, you talked about this. We don't know how culture and everything is going to be by the time that game comes out and how they develop games. And I was also explaining to my audience that culture shift faster than games are being developed. Yeah. And that's the problem with Concord and a lot of these other games, because you have all these, like, the culture is at one point where you had Anita Sarkeesian, you have the movements and all these movements coming out. So it was the perfect time to make games that's part of that type of culture at that time. But then you have games that's constantly being pushed back. So 8 years later or whatever like that, they drop the game. The culture already shifted already. People don't want it no more. So then the games come out, it's an automatic failure. So that's why
I heard about Concord. People were saying, like, if it came out during COVID, like, it probably would have.
Yeah, it would have worked. It definitely would have worked, because at that time. So when it comes to Mass Effect 5 or whatever like that, I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, I don't know about it or whatever like that, because I don't know what the next 5 years is going to be culturally, especially within the culture war or the culture space when it comes to gaming. It could be totally different then, and they could be developing with the future in mind of what the culture could possibly be like,
Mm-hmm.
So
it doesn't make any sense for. Okay, so there's two types of people that can review a game and not like it. The first are your game reviewers, and they play it through because they want to be thorough. So somebody like Skill Up that comes out and says, this game wasn't for me, but I played it to completion, and let me tell you about my thoughts. Not just about the character creator or the opening cutscene, but I played it through well beyond the point where I already knew that it wasn't for me, to make sure that it didn't kind of suddenly get better at the end.
Right.
Or that there wasn't something I wasn't aware of.
Some redeeming quality.
That's not playing it. That's playing it because he's actually doing research.
Right.
Then there's people that play it out of morbid curiosity. These are like people that bought Concord after it was announced that it was shutting down. Right? They wouldn't have bought it otherwise, but now you have a chance to experience something. And so that's kind of a group of people that, like, I get it, right? Kind of the rubbernecking when you're on the road and you're like looking at the car that wrecked. Like,
right.
Don't Google fire trucks. Wait until you're driving down the road at 60 mile an hour and then look at a fire truck while operating your vehicle. This is a good plan. But the people who they're not doing it to put out some sort of comprehensive review. It's
hard because
I don't understand hate playing a game.
Yeah, each individual can only answer really that question for themselves, because it's like, well, what's your end game here? What's your goal? I think a part of it is that I like that, because I've seen Vera make that case, over on Twitter or on something else, not on the side scrollers. That's where I didn't see it, but it was talking about, like, no, I'm going to play these for review, just like Skill said with Skill Up. And then, yes, you already know that Vera has like a bias, etc. But there is a level of that. Like, if I'm putting out something for a review, like to have that conversation around this game and really try to analyze it. Yeah, that's no issue. I think that's where it's like, for me, I'm like, I was never upset by Dragon Age, like, because it wasn't a series that I've grown up with, right?